welcome back to my channel. My name is Anya and this is my May update for my project Pan. This month has been something. I feel like I say that about every month. Last month I finished, I think it was 6 items. This month I only managed 3. My goal each month is 4 because that's going to get me to 50. It's going to get me to 48, but close enough. With the 3 I finished this month, I'm at 27, so I am ahead of schedule, but I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't finish more. And I had a couple that I thought were going to be really easy. The lip liner I'm wearing is one of them, but nope. I still have some that I have decent progress on, but I'm going to start with the ones I finished. I also cut my hair recently. I have it like half up because it needs to be washed. But you can see the length, it's like a lob and I really like it. I'm having a little bit of difficulties with it, how to like pull it up when I need it out to my face, but this is the way I found that works best so far, so I have a little ponytail in the back. But let's get into the products. I finished my Smashbox Primer Water. I had barely anything left, I was down there last time, so I knew this was going to go fast. And I really enjoy this. I have another bottle of this in a different scent that was released last summer. And this is a product I can see myself repurchasing and reusing because I felt like it made a difference. I don't fully trust it on its own as a primer because for me I need a primer to not just to be moisturising but also to be a little bit smoothing because I do have texture. And this is plenty moisturising and I feel like it does a good job of keeping my skincare sort of locked in. I don't get dry throughout the day, which is something that I've struggled with, but I also feel like this helps balance my skin a little bit because I don't feel like I get overly oily. Another product that was really close to done last time was my Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. This is one of my favourite powders, used to be, and I really enjoy it. I have another one, but I've sort of just come to the conclusion it's a little bit heavy for the type of makeup that I currently enjoy, which is no foundation pretty much. And this on its own has a little bit of coverage, but it doesn't have enough for me to just wear it on its own. But I've been able to finish it using it on top of foundation and concealer, and I enjoy it enough to keep using it. I don't feel as sad about it being gone and, you know, knowing that the other one is going to be gone as well this year, as I was when the year started or when I went cruelty free last year. I say cruelty free with these little things on the side because cruelty to animals isn't the only thing I think should be taken into consideration for a brand to be cruelty free, because humans get taken advantage of. Child labour, slave labour pretty much happens in the cosmetic industry and it's not great, and I don't think we should only label brands that are non-cruelty that don't test on animals as cruelty free, because they still might partake in child labour, slave labour and all of that crap, because I think it's something that we forget a lot. Humans are animals. We're animals too. We're a part of the animal kingdom, and I've seen a lot of the sort of, I can't remember the right word for it right now, but one of the sort of, I don't know if drive is the right word for it, but something I see a lot when talking about non-animal tested makeup is that we should speak up for the animals who don't have a voice themselves, which is true, we should, but we also can't forget about the people that don't have a voice in the situation, who literally can't afford to not take sub-minimum wage. Families who can't afford that children don't work. And it's cruelty. So I've sort of been rethinking my whole cruelty-free status. I don't think I'm gonna start purchasing from brands to test on animals, but I don't think I'm gonna label it cruelty free because there's a lot of shady stuff in cosmetics and I don't feel great about a lot of it. One thing I was worried about when I decided last year to stop purchasing from brands who test on animals was losing this powder, because it is and has been one of my favourites for years. But now that my style of makeup has changed and my preferences for makeup and especially for base products has changed, I don't think I'm gonna miss it that much, which is interesting to find out because I never thought I would get to the point where I prefer low coverage base products. For years I have been full coverage or better, but makeup changes. The final product I finished was my Bobbi Brown corrector. There is still stuff smudged in the pan, but I can't get more out of this. And this has been in my collection for years. I bought this in 2015 and I've been using it pretty steady and I've really enjoyed it. This is probably the best tone for an under eye corrector I think I've ever found for my skin. It's in the shade Extra Light Bisque and it manages to be just light enough to not look super orange under my eyes, but it also manages to have just enough of those orange corrective properties that correct the blue and purpleness that I have in my under eyes and still look like it's nothing. So this is a product I'm going to miss. I do have several other corrector type products in this sort of peachy pink colour, none of which are as good a match as this one, but I have more that I can work my way through. I'm hopeful that I'm going to enjoy those as well, since I have started to gravitate more towards these types of products. Those were the 3 I finished. One I really wanted to finish was the Maybelline Baby Lips that I've been working on. I have that much left and it's more than I wanted. I feel like I have simultaneously been working pretty hard on using this up, but also not worn it as often as I could, and both I think is true, because when I remember to wear it, I wear it a lot. I reapply several times during the day. When I forget, and I don't touch it for sometimes days. I want to finish this in June and I think I might be able to, but it's frustrating because I feel like this is going a lot slower than I anticipated. I have again more progress on my OGX weightless hydration coconut water hair spray thingy. I'm at the blue mark at the bottom. I didn't have as much progress this time as I had last time, and I think part of that is because I've only used this once instead of twice, and my hair is half the length, if not shorter, than what it used to be, so I don't have as much hair to spray this in. I don't love it. I feel like it does make my hair quite oily and I don't like how that looks, but I'm hoping to just power through it and finish it at some point. I continue making progress on my Moods of Norway perfume. It's called Eau de Cocktail Pour Femme and I am at the light mark there, and I really like the scent of this. I have 3 more bottles of this in a drawer because Moods of Norway went bankrupt sometime last year, bought themselves back. I think they're back up and running, but I have had a sample of this perfume for years and never bought a full size until that moment when I just sort of panic bought 4. But I really do enjoy the scent of this a lot, so I don't mind. It's not the best perfume I've ever used. I find that it does disappear throughout the day, but I don't mind. I have some more progress on my NYX No Filter powder. This is flat. I have the pan in the centre that's still there. I feel like it's gotten bigger, but the whole powder is flat and is really thin in this area. I've been wearing this a lot. It's the only thing on my skin on top of a green colour corrector today. That's the only base products I'm wearing, but I've been loving this. I'm contemplating purchasing a couple and having as backups because I'm in that place with makeup where I want it done as quickly and as easily as possible with as few steps as possible. This accomplishes that and has a finish that I really enjoy on my skin, but I have a lot of other foundations and concealers that I need to work through, so I don't know if it would be a good idea, but I also know that if I actually want to make a dent with my collection at all, I need to have those sort of quick and easy products for use when I don't feel and when I can't put on 16 steps of makeup. So I haven't purchased my backups of these, still thinking about it, but I'm enjoying this a lot and I am making progress. I am making progress on the prep spray. I don't have my thoughts gathered as much on this as I had about the Smashbox one because I've only used this for a few weeks and not very frequently. I haven't worn a lot of makeup in May. I have been sick and I feel like I say that every single month, but I am chronically ill, so you know, I am sick all the time. But I haven't actually worn a lot of makeup and I haven't used this a whole lot. I'm hoping that in June I'm going to be able to use this more frequently to see how I feel about this. I'm using this the same way I use the Smashbox one because I don't trust this as a primer on its own either. I haven't made up my mind, but I'm making progress, and if I turn out to not love it as much as the Smashbox one, then it's one that, you know, I've worked my way through. If I do like it as much as the Smashbox one, I think I would probably continue repurchasing the Makeup Mecca one because of the price, but I'm going to have to check price per milliliter because you get a lot more product in the Smashbox one, but I know that if I pick this up on sale it's going to be cheaper with this one, but I haven't done the math on price per milliliter as is because you get 116 mils in this and 15 in that. I have my other two primers. I have the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. Steady progress on this one. I don't love this. I've worn this I think twice and loved the result, which has been the 2 times I put a tiny bit of makeup on before I went to our cabin, and I put this and then a green colour corrector over the top and it looks gorgeous. But this underneath foundation and concealer emphasizes dryness on me and I just can't deal with it. So I'm going to keep using it as my sort of one-stop shop for when I go to the cabin and want to look a little bit made up. Because I like the luminizing properties because this is quite glowy, but I don't like how it makes my skin look really dry. The other one is the number 7 Airbrush Away, and I can't say I made heaps of progress. I'm down here and I was up there. I pushed out an air bubble on this early in the month, but I know I made, I think, was it 5 grams last month, which is quite a lot. But I didn't actually lose any space, and I know why, because the air bubble was a little bit further up the tube. So I feel like this space is sort of the combined of 2 months use, and I love this primer. I've worn this every time I've worn makeup and I really like how it looks on my skin, but it's getting old, so I'm just gonna pan that. I'm just gonna throw this one in here. This is my Lancome foundation, the Tinted Dull Ultra Wear. I simultaneously hate that this was the foundation I started the year with, but I also know why it was the foundation I started the year with, and it's because it's the oldest one I own. I can't see progress and that's really frustrating. I weighed this foundation today when taking the pictures because I can't see into this bottle, and not seeing progress even though I have been using this a little bit is frustrating. So I'm hoping that with having the weight of this I'm going to be able to see progress easier. I might also have made it super difficult for myself because this was 113 grams. It was over 100 grams. It has 30 ml of product, and I know that it's not 1 gram per milliliter because this is thicker than water, and it's a glass bottle, so I know that takes some weight. But I feel like I'm actually gonna make good progress on this in the next month or two, or B, feel like I'm using this a lot and see next to nothing changing on the scale. And if the latter becomes the truth, I don't actually know what to do because this is starting to frustrate me a lot. I have found ways to put this on without a sponge, which has made it easier to wear, because I quite like this going on with my fingers, which is a way that I can apply foundation super quickly and super easily, because I don't always want to get back up when I've sat down to do my makeup to wet my sponge, and I don't often think about wetting my sponge before I sit down to do my makeup because it sort of just comes to me whilst lying down, and getting up is not on the agenda if I want to do my makeup. If I can put it on with fingers, 2 thumbs up. I do want to try it with a brush to see if that could work, but I don't generally have a good experience with foundation brushes and foundation going on my skin. It tends to look really dry and really textured, and I don't know if it's my brushes, it could be my brushes, or if it's just my skin doesn't like it. I have weighed this. The picture and the weight will have been on screen, and I'm hoping that that's going to help me track progress a little bit easier, because I made this mark on it in December and I don't even know if it's an accurate mark, and I haven't been able to make a new one. I keep making progress on this. I feel like I am running really low on this. It still has quite a lot of product in sort of this end of the tube, but I'm happy with progress made on this, and I'm hoping that it's going to hold out for a month. I don't know if I'm going to keep it longer. I've talked about stopping this after June anyway because of the 6-month shelf life that would then have been open for a year, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. I'm kind of tempted to just see how long I can keep this running for. That's going to be for future me to decide. throughout this month to see. I made decent progress on my green colour corrector. This is the Urban Decay Naked Skin colour correcting fluid in green. I am down where my finger is. You probably can't see the blue mark on the green very well, but I'm getting to the bottom of this and I'm noticing that because the doe foot keeps coming out with less product on it, which is a good thing. I have been enjoying using this a lot recently, and I think I'm gonna miss it because I like the formula of this quite a lot and it works great with my skin. But I have like 3 or 4 other green ones that I need to go through before potentially purchasing this, but I'm gonna keep using it. I have progress on my Hourglass palette. It's tiny progress, it's on the shade Radiant Light, but I'm getting to the end of this and I'm hoping to be done, I don't think in June, but maybe July, because now that I'm spending more time out in the sun, I'm putting it out in the world so that it's hopefully going to be true. I can use this as a luminizing bronzer, which is what I've done on my forehead, and I really enjoy how it looks, and that might be a way that I can just use it up faster, because right now the only purpose I have for it is on top of this blush, which is the Milani Bella Rosa shade, because it's too dark on its own and I haven't really played it with it as a luminous bronzer before because it's never been my thing. I've always felt it was too shiny, but I put it on my forehead today and I don't hate how it looks. So that might be how I get through this faster. It's lasting a long time, that shade alone, and it's starting to frustrate me just a little bit. I have a little bit of progress on my Everlasting lip liners from Kat Von D. The shade Coven, which is a lavender colour, and the shade LUV, which is a gorgeous purple colour. I have worn each once, and because I used this all over the lip and then this sort of in the centre, that's why there is more use of the LUV shade versus the Coven shade. I discovered that they don't mix. They have a very thick formula on their own, so I don't like putting anything on top of them. Liquid lipstick. The only thing I can get away with is lip gloss or lip balm, but anything else is just too thick, and these don't mix that well because they do set very fast. But I do think I'm gonna at least get some use out of this shade because I do love the colour, and I'm gonna have a bit of fun with this because I do have some purple lipsticks that I can maybe mix with this and hopefully get a decent result. Otherwise I'm just going to be rocking a lavender lip potentially in the future video. I have made a gram disappear from this tube and I am a little bit surprised actually because I haven't used this a whole lot, but I've used a decent chunk of it when I do use it. I've used this to lighten the Lancome foundation because it is too dark. It doesn't really look all that off in the tube, but it's dark, so I've been using this, mixing it in, and this is great for that purpose. I've also got a sample size of this concealer in a different shade. I think it's L11, which is too dark as well, and I've been mixing the two to get a shade closer to me, and it's a really good formula. And it kind of pains me to say that because had I tried these before I discovered Kat Von D was a trash person and a trash brand, I would have purchased it. I do really enjoy it. I'm just gonna use them up, and that's what I'm going to say on the matter. I have progress on my Colourpop shadow in Cornelius. This is drying out. I am considering picking up Inglot's Duraline to rehydrate it when it becomes dry, but I have made the pan a little bit bigger and made a decent dent in this. It is my favourite colour. It is the colour in my crease. I do love this and I want to use up every single bit of this, so I do definitely think I'm gonna have to grab Duraline because this is already feeling a lot drier than my other products. I have a tiny bit of progress on my Isadora Face Sculptor. You're not gonna see anything in the blush. I doubt I will see anything happen to this blush this year because I'm focusing more on the Milani one, but I made a tiny bit of dent in the bronzer, mainly towards this end of the pan. I made it a tiny bit bigger, and in the highlighter up here I've nearly completely hit pan all the way into the corner. So I'm still aiming to use up the highlighter this year and make a dent, bigger dent in the bronzer. I would love to finish it, but my highlighter is my main focus and the bronzer would be a bonus. If I could hit pan on this blush, which I don't think is going to happen, I would be thrilled because this palette is gorgeous. The bronzer is a tad warm for my skin when it's at its palest, and it's been super pale for like 5 months. I'm hoping that when I hopefully get a little bit more sun during the summer, I can get away with applying bronzer a little bit more heavily, but I'm gonna keep using it. And if you are contemplating picking it up, do it, it's great. I then have my 2 eyeshadow palettes. I'm gonna start with the Makeup Mecca My New Lover palette. This grows. And I don't know if I said it last time or if I didn't talk about it. When I introduced this was 78 grams. I weighed it and I didn't take a picture. It was 79. And I have zero idea where that extra gram comes from. But I have made a decent dent in that colour there, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see it on the picture, but if you look towards this top edge of the pan, I've made a big dent. I will hopefully pan on this in June. I actually think I'm that close, but I have been mainly working with that shade. I've been using it in my eyebrows, on my eyes. I've also been playing a little bit with Heartbreaker, and I've been finding some looks I've been enjoying with that. I also dip into late nights. I've used Silk Sheets once, and I think Tight, this shade here, or the shade up in the corner here, once. But I have been mainly focusing on this for shimmers, and I've been dipping into the mattes and then mainly that colour. I'm making progress because this was the shade that I thought I was going to use up first and the one I sort of brought it in for. I'm pretty happy with visible progress. A little bit confused about how this is growing though. The Wet n Wild trio I keep making progress on. I have mainly made a dent in this top shade. This whole side is now clear of product and I'm essentially just going to keep working. I'm working along the bottom edge here and I'm hoping to essentially clear half of the pan by next time and maybe some more. I'm hoping for the bottom shade to clear this corner and the middle shade I'm just going to keep using. I've mainly been working at this sort of top edge there and the bottom edge there to sort of expand the pan upwards and downwards instead of sideways, and I think I'm getting somewhere, but you can't see it on pictures. I can see it with my eyes. I am not going to add anything in this month, partly because I haven't thought about anything to add in. It's 12 in the evening and I want to go to bed. I have physical therapy tomorrow and I kind of need to do that, but I also have 88 items that have been added into the project, 27 which have been used up, leaving me with 61 still to work on. So I think I'm gonna just spend June working through as much as I can, and I have looked over absolutely everything and I think I might be able to finish 6 or something next month, which is one of those I feel like it's going every other month with a lot of product, not a lot of product, a lot of product, not a lot of product. It's a little bit frustrating, but I'm making a dent in my collection, which is good. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you again soon. Good night.